I think the main thing is that people have got to just screw it, just do it and start somewhere, and and in time they may well get their own island.
If you could freeze your life, at any moment in time, what would it be?
I suspect 16 years old, in the 60s, free love, the occasional joint, lots of great music, lots of great festivals, no care in the world.
Before all of this, before you were a billionaire, before you had your own island.
Yeah, I think so. Success is great. It enables you to do a lot of things and achieve a lot of things that you can be proud of. It also comes with a lot of responsibilities.
Do those weigh on you?
They should do. I mean, I think if you are successful and you have a reputation, you have wealth, you've got to make sure that you work bloody hard to give back. And there's a lot of problems in the world, and I think it's very important that entrepreneurs who are successful spend a lot of their time trying to help sort those problems out. But it's fascinating, it's interesting. You asked me for one time in my life, and maybe being frozen at 16 wouldn't be a bad life, I think.
You started out nearly kicked out of school as a young boy. You dropped out at age 16. What was your childhood nickname?
It was Let's Go.
How'd you get that nickname?
Because anytime we were doing something, I would always get impatient and say, let's go.
And now you've gone on to found hundreds of companies. What do you think the difference is between you and all the other people out there who might dream of doing what you did, but don't have their own island?
Well, I've been at it for 50 years. I've had lucky breaks along the way. I've created things I felt passionate about. I've created things that I feel could make a real difference in the world, not with the aim of making lots of money, but with the aim of creating things I could be proud of. Starting Virgin Atlantic against all the odds with one plane because I hated flying on British Airways.
When you hear entrepreneurs who are successful, when you hear their stories, it really was coming up with a solution to something they didn't like, something that wasn't right in the world.
That's the beauty of entrepreneurism. It is step by step making the world a much better place. And because people liked what we created, people then bought into what we were doing, and we managed to pay the bills and build other things.
How long did it take before you got your own island?
I was 27.
Come on! You were 27 years old.
But then it was there was nothing on it. There was one palm tree, lots of cacti.
You got a bargain.
$120,000. It was I had to borrow and scramble for it, and it's cost a penny or 2 cents. So we didn't only developed it once we'd had a lot of successes over the years.
It's 400 companies at this point that you have founded. They haven't all been winners. So when there is a setback, how do you overcome that?
I'm the kind of person I'll work, day and night to try to make sure something doesn't fail. And if I feel the writing is definitely on the wall, like with our beautiful Virgin Megastores, which we'd had running for about 30 years when iTunes came along and people could get their music for free on the internet. We finally had to sell them and call it a day. Then the next day you pick yourself up and you move forward into other areas. So I'm not somebody that weeps over the past. Maybe learn a little bit from it, and then move forward.
That's easier said than done. People say this all the time. As a billionaire, it's easier to say something like that.
I think you just got to be positive about your life, whatever stage you are in your life. If you're positive and you're friendly and you deal well with people, you've got a chance of getting out of difficult situations.
You wanted to be a tennis player growing up as a kid. That was your dream.
I still play tennis morning and evening. I love it. Now I love sports. If I wasn't an entrepreneur, I think I wouldn't mind have had a sporting life, but of course it wouldn't have lasted. So I've been an entrepreneur for 50 years. I would not have been able to be a sports person for 50 years.
What did playing sports teach you about leadership?
I think it taught me the importance of motivating people, of praising people, of looking for the best in the team, inspiring people, and trying to make sure that all 11 of you were playing on the same side.
When you have an employee or a teammate who is going off doing their own thing, not playing for the team, how do you correct that?
You might have a gentle word. You also want mavericks in a company. I mean, you may find that the one that's going off doing their own thing is exactly the one that's going to create the greatest breakthroughs for you. I mean, there was a guy that worked for Virgin Records, our record company, many years ago, and the local record shop rang me up and said, he's stealing from you. He's coming and selling records in our shop every day. So I brought him in and I told him, that wasn't really the thing to do. But I'll give him one more chance, and he turned out to be our best A&R person. He signed Boyd Culture Club and Phil Collins and the Rolling Stones, and he was a maverick. And he
just a few little names in the music industry.
Yeah, he didn't steal from us again either, I don't think.
What do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
I think the most important thing with legacy is your children, and your life is in bringing up your children and them maybe continuing, hopefully, your good works. And fortunately got some great kids and great grandkids, and hope they'll have happy memories of their dad and mum one day when the time comes.
What's one technology that we rely on right now that won't be around 10 years from now?
There's a possibility that cockpits of aeroplanes will not have pilots in 10 years from now.
How likely is that?
It's definitely doable, and the question is how many airlines will actually make it happen. So, with all this self-drive and new technology, you're going to need to make sure that people are well paid for less work.
How will that work?
3-day weekends, and make sure that people are paid the same amount of money. Companies will not suffer from in fact, they'll make quite good money out of this new technology.
How far away are we from 3-day weekends?
I would say 10 years from now, it would be important that most people are on 3-day weekends.
Is that something Virgin is looking at?
We are experimenting right now and telling a number of our companies, that is saying you can take as much time off as you want, you'll get paid for it.
Name one technology that scares you.
Nuclear weapons.
AI, does that scare you?
No.
Really, why not?
Because I think Elon exaggerates, and on that one, I think AI can do enormous benefit to the world.
Have you watched Westworld?
I've watched Westworld, but yeah, no, AI doesn't frighten me at all.